The Gambler's Ruin Project, where the odds get cracked. English Premier League, round 35.
Welcome back to the Gambler's Ruin Project, powered by SmartBet AI. I'm Anna, joined as always by Dominic and Kateryna. Today we've got two intriguing Premier League fixtures: Leicester City versus Southampton and Nottingham Forest versus Brentford.
We'll break down AI-driven predictions, tactical insights, and smart betting strategies. Plus, we have a special game theory deep dive segment between our matches.
As always, a quick reminder. This episode is for informational purposes only. Gambling can be addictive. Please bet responsibly and follow your bankroll rules.
First up, we're at King Power Stadium on Saturday, May 3rd, 2025 at 1400 UTC. It's a pleasant day in Leicester. Morning lows around 9 degrees Celsius, climbing to about 17 degrees by kickoff, with just a 10% chance of a light shower. Expect northeast winds at 7 to 13 miles per hour, so the pitch should play true and crisp all afternoon.
Sounds perfect for a passing masterclass, or at least a proper midfield battle. Speaking of midfield, Leicester have some big names out. Steffi Mavididi is missing with other issues. Harry Winks is serving a club ban. Harry Souttar is sidelined by that ankle knock. And youngster Abdul Fatawu is out for the season and beyond with an ACL tear.
So Leicester's new formation is basically who's available.
Right, imagine the announcer. And in goal before... Academy debutante, because why not?
Meanwhile, Southampton aren't unscathed either. Charlie Taylor's out with hip trouble, Ryan Fraser has an unspecified knock, and Juan Larios also misses out with other issues, leaving them a bit threadbare at left back and across midfield.
That vacancy could hand a big chance to fringe players and new signings. Game time has never looked more precious.
Absolutely. Keep an eye on Leicester's youth graduates and Southampton's summer recruits. They might be the surprise heroes today.
In short, perfect weather, makeshift lineups, and a chance for the next generation to shine. Let's see who rises to the occasion.
Our Poisson model spits out 2.80 expected goals for Leicester and 3.46 for Southampton. So we're looking at a potentially goal fest here.
3.46 for the away side. That's bonkers. Southampton smashing nearly 3.5 past whoever lines up in that patched-together back four.
Right? Leicester's defence is going to have its hands full. Harvey Barnes will keep darting in behind, and Yuri Tielemans' through balls are lethal. Imagine Barnes racing past the centre-back and squaring for a tap-in.
Meanwhile, Southampton's counter-press is world-class. The moment Leicester lose possession in midfield, as they often do when they overcommit, Adam Armstrong will ghost into the half-space. He's got that knack for arriving late and finishing clinically.
So it's Leicester on the front foot, dominating possession, but Southampton ready to pounce at the slightest slip. Sounds like a recipe for chaos and goals.
Absolutely. Think of it as a Swiss cheese defence on both sides. Leicester's makeshift pairing at the back, remember they've lost Souttar and Mavididi, will be stretched. And Southampton have gaps to exploit with Fraser's energetic burst down the flank, even if he's other knocks.
Tactically, Leicester will try to smother space through high possession, but every time they push up, Southampton's transitions accelerate. It's like two heavyweight boxers agreeing to dance, only to land haymakers in mid-twirl.
With those expected goals, over 3.5 goals is screaming at us. But then again, if both find the net early, we could get a 4-3 thriller. Who wouldn't love that?
As long as you've kept your bets small, remember the 2% rule, sit back and enjoy the goal avalanche.
All right, let's turn those numbers into actionable bets. 1. Best bet. Both teams to score, BTTS. Leicester's expected goals approximately 2.80 and Southampton's approximately 3.46. Probability Leicester scores approximately 94%. Probability Southampton scores approximately 97%. Combined BTTS, approximately 91% chance. Even at -110 juice, that's excellent value for a near-lock outcome.
And 91% probability? You don't see those numbers every day. Definitely my core play.
Exactly. Now, on to 2. Alternative bet. Over 3.5 goals, Poisson of 6.26 gives approximately 87% chance of over 3.5 goals. At typical odds around 1.80, you're backing a high probability, high volatility market.
With both teams so attack-minded, 4+ goals feels more like a courtesy than a surprise.
And finally, 3. Value play. Draw no bet DNB on Southampton Poisson suggests Southampton lead on expected goals, so you back them to win and get your stake back if it's level. At DNB odds near 2.00, you cap your downside, draw equals refund, while still capturing the upside if their counterattacks click.
You can split your 2% bankroll allocation. For example, 1.0% on BTTS, 0.7% on over 3.5, 0.3% on Southampton DNB. That way you're diversified across outcomes. If one bet misses, another can save the day.
Nicely balanced. And remember our golden rule, never risk more than 2% total on a single match. Keeps you in the game long term, no matter how many goals fly in.
Here's to smart staking, multiple layers of cover, and most importantly, staying disciplined.
Now let's see if Leicester's makeshift back four can actually keep this goal spree from happening. Good luck everyone, bet responsibly, and enjoy the show.
Alright team, time to geek out. Welcome to our game theory segment. If you thought this was just picking winners, buckle up. We're diving into the math of making your bets unexploitable.
I've been waiting for this. It's like the secret level of betting. Once you know these moves, the bookmakers start sweating.
First up, Kelly Criterion. It tells you the optimal fraction of your bankroll to wager when you have a positive edge. The formula is FR equals BP minus Q divided by B, where B is decimal odds minus 1, the net odds. P is your estimated probability of winning. Q is 1 minus P, the probability of losing.
Fancy. So if we think Southampton has a 60% chance at odds of 2.5, net B equals 1.5, then Kelly says F equals 1.5 times 0.6 minus 0.4 divided by 1.5, which equals 0.9 minus 0.4 divided by 1.5, which equals 0.33. So 33% of our bankroll? That's a lot.
Exactly. Kelly tends to be aggressive. Most pros use a fractional Kelly, say half Kelly, so only 16.5% of your bankroll. Still, far above our usual 2% cap. It's a great way to size up when your edge is huge.
And remember, Kelly maximizes long-term growth, not today's thrills. If you're risk-averse, dial it down even further. Quarter Kelly, 10th Kelly, whatever lets you sleep at night.
Okay, but what about matches where the edge is tiny, like a 51% chance? Kelly would still suggest a bet, but the margin is razor thin.
That's where Minimax thinking saves you from going bust. In Minimax, you choose the strategy that minimizes your maximum possible loss. Think of it like draw no bet or double chance. Your worst case is much less severe.
Exactly. Instead of the full-on win-lose swing, you cap your downside. If the game falls outside your confidence interval, you collect a refund or partial win, sacrificing some upside for safety.
So how does Nash come into play?
In betting, a Nash Equilibrium is when neither you nor the bookmaker can adjust your strategies to improve your expected return. If you always bet BTTS when it's plus 150 and it wins 75% of the time, they'll adjust odds until that edge disappears.
Think of the bookmakers as your opponent. If you find a pattern, like always betting the draw on rainy days, they'll tweak the lines, and your edge evaporates. True equilibrium means your strategy is unexploitable. It's a magical balance. Also, consider using multiple sportsbooks to find the best odds.
So no screaming this is a lock into the void, because the market always hears you.
Exactly. And don't chase losses. Gambler's ruin is real. If you lose 3 BTS bets in a row, the chance of BTTS isn't suddenly higher next time. That's emotional, not mathematical.
Bet with your brain, not your heart. If a match feels too close to call, sit it out. There's no shame in preserving your bankroll.
Kelly Criterion for sizing bets when you're confident. Then dial it down for comfort. Minimax, like draw no bet or double chance, to limit worst-case losses. Nash Equilibrium. Seek strategies that resist bookmaker adjustments. Discipline. Never bet impulsively, and always respect your bankroll rules.
To smart staking unexploitable strategies and keeping the fun in the game.
And if all else fails, blame the weather, or the ref.
Or just blame the AI, it's what it's there for.
Alright, moving on to the City ground for a Thursday evening kickoff. May 1st, 2025 at 18:30 UTC. Forecast is sunshine turning partly cloudy, with temperatures climbing to 25 degrees Celsius and a gentle SSE breeze around 6 miles per hour. Rain chance stays under 10% all evening, perfect conditions for an open game.
Sounds like shorts and sleeves. Not the usual City ground drenching, but who's in and who's out?
Forest are down David Carmo, serving a suspension after that direct red, and Ida Silva is sidelined with a foot issue. That leaves gaps in their backline and midfield pivot.
Ouch! Missing both your anchor and your centre-back is rough. What about Brentford?
Brentford's hit by a thigh knock to Aaron Hickey. Thiago Rodriguez is out until May 10th with a knee problem. Joshua Da Silva's knee keeps him out until May 25th, and Fabio Carvalho is nursing a shoulder injury through early June.
Looks like both teams are playing musical chairs with their lineups. Whoever adapts fastest wins the battle.
Absolutely. Forest will shuffle their defensive shape. Watch for Williams or Milosevic stepping in. Brentford might lean on substitute depth, perhaps Damsgaard in midfield and Semenyo up front to fill those gaps.
Key battles to watch. Forest's makeshift pairing against Brentford's pace on the break, and which manager tweaks formations quickest. All that under idyllic weather. Can't wait!
Our Monte Carlo simulation, 10,000 runs, projects a home win for Forest at 40.17%, a draw at 38.26%, and an away win for Brentford at 21.57%. The top three scorelines: 1-1 at 9.14%, 2-1 to Forest at 8.19%, and 1-2 to Brentford at 8.11%. In short, it's razor-thin between a tight draw and a narrow Forest victory.
Wow, less than a 2% gap between a home win and a draw. That tells me Forest's defence is shaky enough that Brentford could nick a goal, but their attack isn't clinical enough to dominate. It's like watching two boxers trading body blows. One could land the knockout, or it could go the distance.
Tactically, Forest's pressing intensity will aim to suffocate Brentford in midfield. Steve Cooper's men love to force turnovers high up and pour forward. Gibbs, White and Awoni thrive on chaos. But Brentford under Thomas Frank are lethal on the counter. Ivan Toney's knack for losing his marker and Matthias Jensen's long-range passing can catch Forest's makeshift centre-back duo flat-footed.
Exactly. Look for Brentford's transition speed. Once they clear their lines, they'll hit pockets of space behind Neco Williams or Alex Mighton pushing on. And Brentford's set pieces? Forest have conceded cheaply from corners this season.
So expect waves of Forest pressure and then sudden breath-stealing breaks from Brentford. It could be end-to-end, but with both defences missing key personnel, I'd back chances at both ends rather than a shutout.
Key battles: Gibbs-White versus Jensen in the middle, and the duels between Awoniyi and the Brentford centre-backs. If Forest dominate that midfield 50-50, they'll control the game. If Brentford pick their moments, boom, Tony's there to pounce.
Tactical chess at its finest. Only instead of knights and rooks, we've got strikers and full-backs. Grab your popcorn because this one could go right down to the wire.
Here's our take, based on the numbers and the tactical brew we've just stirred. 1. Best bet, both teams to score, BTTS. Forest's high press creates turnovers, and Brentford's lightning counters mean both sides should find the net. Our Monte Carlo puts BTTS probability at roughly 70%. Games with this profile see both teams score about 7 out of 10 times. 2. Alternative bet draw no bet on Forest to Forest edge at home is clear. Home win 40.17% versus draw 38.26%. ODNB gives you full payout on a Forest win and your stake back on a draw. Perfect when you trust the home side but respect Brentford's threat. 3. Scoreline play 1-1 draw. Top scoreline in our sim at 9.14% probability. If you're chasing bigger odds, this classic deadlock is the one to target.
Split your allocation like this: 1.2% on BTTS, 0.5% on Forest DNB, 0.3% on the 1-1 correct score. Keeps you diversified across outcomes in this razor-tight fixture. And as always, 1 to 2% max per match. No chasing the losses when it's that close.
Solid plan. You've got cover if Forest grind out a win, you snag the draw if it's tight, and you still cash in on the classic stalemate. Now let's see if the players follow the playbook. Well, that brings us to the end of today's show. What a ride! We broke down Leicester versus Southampton, dove into our game theory toolkit, and dissected Nottingham Forest versus Brentford. Remember, our AI gives us probabilities, not guarantees. Always keep your wits about you and bet responsibly.
And hey, if you hit the jackpot, don't forget us little people. Just kidding. Seriously though, stick to your staking plan and don't chase losses.
If you or someone you know needs help with gambling, please reach out. In the US, call the National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-522-4700, available 24/7. In the UK, contact BeGambleAware at 080880200133 or visit begambleaware.org for support.
Thank you for joining us. Your feedback and predictions keep the conversation alive. Drop your thoughts in the comments or on social media.
Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that bell, so you'll be first in line when our next data-driven deep dive drops.
Next week, a London derby that could decide the title. You won't want to miss it.
Disclaimer: this content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The predictions and insights provided by the Gambler's Ruin Project, powered by SmartBet AI technology, are generated using statistical models and historical data. These predictions do not guarantee outcomes and should not be considered financial or betting advice. Gambling can be addictive. Please bet responsibly and only wager what you can afford to lose. If you or someone you know is struggling with gambling addiction, seek help from professional support services. Legal notice: this content does not constitute an offer to participate in gambling. The Gambler's Ruin Project does not operate as a bookmaker or betting service and does not encourage gambling. All users are responsible for complying with local laws and regulations regarding sports betting and gambling-related content in their respective jurisdictions. The Gambler's Ruin Project, where the odds get cracked.